The alien mining ship Kethver drifted silently above Earth's dead surface. Commander HFY pressed his six-fingered hand against the viewing port and stared down at the brown and gray planet below. 300 years had passed since the humans went quiet. 300 years since their last desperate transmission reached the galaxy. Another dead world, muttered his second Dynakaman. Zaktai. Just like the others. HFY nodded. The Terraline Collective had claimed 17 former human worlds in the past century. All empty, all silent. Humans had been weak, their technology primitive, their bodies fragile. When the plague hit their colonies, they simply died out. Like so many species before them. Sir, we're detecting movement on the surface, reported the sensor operator. HFY turned his attention to the display. Dust storms swept across the barren continents, nothing more. Atmospheric disturbance. Log it and continue the survey. 2 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Hyun-woo Kim watched the alien ship through hidden sensors. The young human sat in the command center of New Seoul, one of dozens of underwater cities that had thrived in secret for 3 centuries. His dark eyes tracked the Terralian vessel as it moved over the ruins of old Tokyo. "They're taking mineral samples again," he reported to his superior, Dr. Soyoung Park. She stood beside him, her graying hair pulled back in a simple bun. At 140 years old, she had lived through the plague years and the great rebuilding that followed. "Let them look," she said quietly. "They see only what we want them to see." The plague had nearly destroyed humanity. 9 out of 10 people died in the first wave. The survivors retreated underground, to the deep ocean cities, to hidden bases. On the dark side of the moon, the galaxy believed them extinct. It was better that way. Above them, the Terralian mining operation on Luna continued its work. Commander Vexen supervised the extraction of rare minerals from the moon's surface. His workers were efficient, pulling tons of valuable ore from the dead satellite of a dead world. The humans had built a few small bases there centuries ago, but they were just empty shells now. "Any signs of the old human technology?" Vexen asked his chief engineer. "Nothing useful, sir. Their computers are primitive. Their weapons are basic projectile systems. Nothing we can't handle if we find any survivors hiding somewhere," Vexen laughed. Survivors. The humans couldn't even survive a simple plague. They were too weak for space travel, too stupid for real technology. We're just cleaning up their mess. In the hidden city of New Geneva, built inside a massive underground cavern in the Alps, Jinho Lee worked on humanity's greatest secret. The young engineer stood before a construction bay where something magnificent was taking shape. The ship looked organic, its hull flowing like living metal. Its weapons systems were based on technology that could bend space itself.
"How many
more do we need?" asked his assistant, Yoon Ji-han. 10,000, Jinho replied. "Maybe more. We need enough to make them understand." The ship they were building was just one of thousands. For 3 centuries, humanity had been preparing. The plague that nearly killed them had also changed them. Those who survived found their minds sharper, their bodies stronger, their lifespans extended. They used this gift to build something the galaxy had never seen. Captain Minky's song. Reviewed the latest intelligence reports from the observation posts scattered throughout the galaxy. The 30-year-old officer had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. He knew the locations of every alien military base, every trade route, every weakness in their defenses. "The Terralians have increased their mining operations," he reported to Admiral Jamin Ko. "They're stripping resources." From 12 former human worlds, the Admiral was a tall man with silver hair and eyes that had seen too much. Then it's time they learned those worlds still belonged to someone. On the surface of Earth, automated systems maintained the illusion of death. Dust covered the ruins of great cities. Vegetation grew wild over abandoned highways. Satellites showed. No signs of civilization, no electromagnetic signatures, no heat sources that might indicate life, but deep beneath the surface. In cities that stretched 4 kilometers under the ocean floor, humanity thrived. Children played in gardens lit by bioluminescent plants. Scientists worked on technologies that would reshape the galaxy. Soldiers trained for the day when they would reclaim their birthright. The Terralian survey ship completed its orbit and prepared. To jump to hyperspace, Commander HFY filed his report. Sol system remains dead. No signs of human activity. Recommend continued mining operations. As the alien ship disappeared into hyperspace, Dr. Hanwoo Kim smiled. The galaxy still believed. Humanity was extinct. It picked through human ruins like scavengers, taking what they wanted, claiming what they pleased. They had grown comfortable with the idea that humans were just another failed species soon. They would learn how wrong they were, in the depths of the Pacific, in hidden cities on the far side of the moon, in secret bases scattered across the solar system. Humanity waited. They had spent 3 centuries building something beautiful and terrible. They had learned patience. They had learned to whisper in the darkness. But the time for whispers was almost over. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the city of New Seoul glowed with soft blue light. Dr. So-young Park walked through the central plaza, where children played beside pools of luminescent water. The kids looked normal, but they were different from the humans who had lived 3 centuries ago. Their eyes were brighter, their movements quicker, their minds sharper. "How many generations now?" asked her assistant Min-ji Kim, watching a group of teenagers solve complex mathematical problems as if they were simple puzzles. 15, So-young replied, each one stronger than the last. The plague had been humanity's greatest tragedy and its greatest gift. Those who survived carried genes that had been dormant for millennia. The children born after the plague lived longer, thought faster, and adapted to environments that would have killed their ancestors. They could hold their breath for an hour, see in near total darkness, and process information at incredible speeds. In the engineering district, Jin-Ho Lee stood before a massive construction facility. The room stretched for kilometers in every direction, filled with ships that looked more grown than built. Their hulls rippled like living skin, shifting colors as they absorbed energy from the surrounding water. "The nanobots are working perfectly," reported his colleague Sung-min Park. "Each ship can repair itself, adapt to new threats, and even reproduce basic components." Gin-Ho nodded. The technology was beyond anything the galaxy had seen. While alien civilizations built ships from metal and plastic, humans had learned to grow them from modified organic compounds. The vessels were stronger than steel, but flexible like muscle. They could change shape, self-repair, and evolve during combat. "How long until the first squadron is ready?" Jin-Ho asked. 2 months. "The ships are learning to work together like a school of fish." On Luna's dark side, hidden beneath kilometers of rock and ice, Commander Eugene Choi supervised the weapons testing facility. The young woman watched as technicians fired a prototype weapon at a target asteroid. The beam didn't just destroy the rocket-folded space around it, compressing the asteroid into a point of light that quickly faded. "Energy consumption?" she asked. "Minimal?" "The weapon draws power directly from local space-time distortions," replied the lead scientist, Dr. Hyun-Soo Kim. "We can fire continuously for hours without recharging." The weapons were based on theories that human scientists had developed during the dark years after the plague. With their enhanced minds and extended lifespans, they had solved problems that had puzzled physicists for centuries. They learned to manipulate gravity, bend light, and even create small tears in the fabric of space itself. In the hidden archives beneath Mount Fuji, Yoon-ji Han cataloged 3 centuries of intelligence gathering. The walls were covered with holographic displays showing alien star maps, military positions, and trade routes. Every major civilization in the galaxy was mapped down to the smallest detail. "The Terralians have 47 military bases," she reported to her supervisor, Captain Jae Sung-ko. "The Valkyrie maintained 32 battle fleets. Collective controls over 200 mining operations. They all think we're extinct." Jae-sung smiled grimly. Perfect. Humanity had spent 3 centuries watching and learning. Invisible probes monitored alien communications. Cloaked observation posts recorded military movements. Human agents, disguised as other species, had infiltrated major alien institutions. They knew everything about their enemies, while the aliens knew nothing about them. The quantum communication network connected every human settlement across the galaxy. Messages traveled instantly through folded space, invisible to alien detection systems. On distant worlds where human colonies had once thrived, Small groups of survivors received encrypted transmissions. Homecoming protocol is active. The message. Read. Prepare for reunification. On Kepler 440b, where a human colony had supposedly died out 2 centuries ago, near Sujin Park, gathered her people in the underground city of New Busan. The settlement had been built inside a massive cave system, hidden from alien surveys. How many ships can we muster? She asked her defense coordinator, Colonel Minho Kim. 50 fully operational vessels. Another 30 in final construction, he replied. All equipped with the new adaptive technology? Across dozens of worlds, humanity had never truly died. They had simply learned to hide, to wait, to prepare. Each settlement had spent centuries developing their own specialties. Some focused on weapons, others on ships, still others on intelligence gathering in the Titan shipyards. Hidden beneath the moon's methane seas, thousands of workers put finishing touches on the largest ships ever built by human hands. The massive vessels were kilometers long, their hulls gleaming with embedded nanotechnology. They looked like living creatures, beautiful and terrible at the same time. The flagship is ready, reported Chief Engineer Dae-Yoon Lee to Admiral Jaemin Ko. The admiral stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching as his crew ran final systems checks. All stations report ready, sir, called out Navigation Officer Tae-Hyun Park. Excellent. Signal all commands. Operation Homecoming begins in 72 hours. Across the solar system, in hidden bases and secret facilities, humanity stirred. The children who had been born in the depths now stood ready to reclaim the surface. The technology they had developed in secret was about to be revealed. The galaxy that had written them off as extinct ruins was about to learn that from ruins, something far more dangerous could rise. The time for hiding was over. The alarms on the Terlian mining station screamed through the corridors. Commander Vexton rushed to the sensor station, his purple skin darkening with confusion. The displays showed massive energy signatures rising from Earth's surface, but that was impossible. The planet had been dead for 3 centuries. Sir, multiple contacts emerging from the ocean, reported sensor operator Kilmai, her voice shaking. Unknown ship designs. Energy readings are off the charts. Vexton stared at the main screen. Sleek vessels were rising from the Pacific Ocean, their hulls gleaming with an inner light. They moved unlike any ships he had ever seen, flowing through the water like living creatures before breaking the surface and ascending into space. How many? He demanded. Double quotes, 50. Dot. No, wait, 100. Sir, they keep coming. On the bridge of the EU's Resilience, Captain Minky Song watched the Terlian mining station through the view screen. The alien facility sat on Luna's surface like a metal tumor, its drilling equipment carving deep into the moon's crust. For decades, these invaders had been stealing from humanity's birthright. Open communications, he ordered Lieutenant Yoon-ji. Han worked at the communications console, her fingers dancing over controls that seemed to respond to her thoughts. The ship's bioneural interface allowed the crew to connect directly with their vessel's systems. Channel open, sir? Minky straightened. In his captain's chair. When he spoke, his voice carried the authority of 3 centuries of preparation. Attention, Terlian mining vessel. This is Captain Minky's Song of the United Earth ship Resilience. You are trespassing in human space. Withdraw immediately. On the Terlian station, dead silence followed the transmission. Commander Vexton blinked, his large eyes in disbelief. Did he just speak perfect Terlian? Yes, sir. The translation was flawless. But humans are extinct. Everyone knows that. Vexton activated his own communications system. Unknown vessel. This is Commander Vexthon of the Terlian Collective. Earth was declared a dead world 3 centuries ago. We have legal salvage rights to this system. The human response came immediately. Commander, your legal rights were never granted by the legitimate government of this system. You have 30 seconds to begin evacuation procedures. 30 seconds, Vexton laughed, a sound like grinding stones. You're outnumbered 50-1. Psst, my battle cruiser alone masses. 10 times your little ship, 29 seconds, came the calm reply. Vexinus's amusement turned to anger. All ships target the unknown vessel. Prepare to fire. The Turlian battlecruiser Kethmer powered up its weapons systems. Energy cannons that could melt through asteroid hulls locked onto the human ship. Around it, smaller Turlian vessels formed, an attack formation. 15 seconds, Captain Minky announced. Fire, Vexton commanded. Brilliant purple beams lanced through space toward the EU's resilience. The crew watched in fascination as the energy weapons struck their ship's hull and simply disappeared. The adaptive armor absorbed the incoming fire, converting the energy into power for the ship's systems. Interesting, remarked weapons officer Gamine Ko. Their weapons use quantum crystalline matrices. Primitive, but effective against conventional materials. Captain Minky nodded. Time's up. Disable their weapons systems. Minimal damage to life support. What happened next would be recorded in galactic history databases for millennia. The U's resilience fired a single beam of coherent space-time distortion. The beam struck the Terlian battlecruiser and passed through its shields as if they didn't exist. Every weapon system on the massive ship simply stopped working. Power conduits didn't explode. The weapons didn't melt. They just stopped. What did you do to us? Vexton screamed into his communicator. We temporarily disrupted the quantum coherence of your weapon systems, Captain Minky explained patiently. They'll work again in about 6 hours. More than enough time for you to evacuate? Around the solar system, similar scenes played out. Terlian mining operations on Mars found themselves surrounded by ships that seemed to bend light around them. Valkyrie research stations detected vessels that appeared on sensors, but couldn't be targeted by their weapons. Zephyrian trade routes were blocked by human ships that negotiated in perfect alien languages. In the hidden command center beneath Mount Fuji, Admiral Jamin Ko watched the real-time reports flooding in. Every alien installation in the Sol system was being politely but firmly evicted. Not a single shot had been fired in anger. Not a single alien had been killed. Phase 1 complete, reported Communications Officer Dayun Lee. All alien vessels are requesting immediate evacuation assistance. Granted, the Admiral replied. Send rescue ships to help with their evacuation. We're not monsters. Back on Luna, Commander Vexton watched human ships approach his damaged station. He expected to be vaporized, but instead, the vessels offered to help evacuate his crew. The humans even provided medical assistance to injured Terlian workers. I don't understand, he said to Captain Minky as they met face-to-face in the station's docking bay. The human was smaller than expected, with dark hair and kind eyes. He could have killed us all. We could have, Minky agreed, but we're not conquerors. We're just coming home. As the last Terlian ship departed the Sol system, emergency transmissions flooded galactic communication networks. The messages were fragmented, confused, and terrifying. Humans alive. Impossible technology. Earth has returned. The galaxy was about to learn that reports of humanity's death had been greatly exaggerated. The asteroid belt around Jupiter suddenly came alive with movement. What had appeared to be ordinary space rocks for centuries began to unfold like massive metal flowers. Admiral Jamin Ko stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching as humanity's greatest secret revealed itself to the galaxy. 7 is fully operational, reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Soyoung Park. They're launching the heavy cruiser squadron now. Through the view screen, Jamin watched ships emerge from hidden construction bays carved deep inside. Asteroids. Each vessel was enormous, their hulls gleaming with adaptive nanotechnology that shifted colors like oil on water. The ships moved with organic grace, as if they were alive. How many total, he asked. 15,000 combat vessels, sir. Another 5,000 support ships? All cruiser ready for deployment? The Admiral smiled grimly. For 3 centuries, humanity had been building this moment. Every asteroid belt, every gas giant, every dead moon had hidden construction facilities. The galaxy thought humans were extinct, but they had been preparing the largest military force in known history. On the bridge of the Terraline flagship Vorkus, Admiral Hicksonall stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The screen showed thousands of red dots spreading across the Sol system. Each dot represented a human warship and more. Kept appearing every minute. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Where did they all come from?" "Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures from Saturn's rings," reported his sensor officer. "Something big is moving inside the ice particles." The rings of Saturn suddenly parted like curtains, revealing construction platforms the size of small cities. Ships that dwarfed anything in the Terralian fleet emerged from the hidden facilities. The largest vessels were 10 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that hummed with contained power. "Get me the Galactic Council immediately," Hicksonall ordered. "They need to know what's happening here." Captain Yujin Choi commanded the destroyer squadron assigned to Mars. Her ships approached the red planet in perfect formation, their hulls rippling with electromagnetic fields. The Terralian mining colony on the surface had been strip mining the planet for decades, leaving ugly scars across the ancient landscape. Broadcasting on all frequencies, she announced, "Attention, Terralian mining facility. This is Captain Yujin Choi of the United Earth Navy. You have 6 hours to evacuate all personnel and equipment. After that time, we will reclaim this world." The response came from Colony Administrator Tekfur, his voice filled with panic. "You can't do this. We have mining rights granted by the Galactic Council." "The Galactic Council has no authority over human worlds," Yujin replied calmly. "We're being generous with 6 hours. Don't waste them." In the depths of space, the human fleet continued to grow. Ships emerged from hidden bases in the Kuiper Belt, from hollowed-out comets, from facilities built inside the shells of dead worlds. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, combining organic technology with quantum mechanics in ways that alien science couldn't understand. Lieutenant Yoonji Han piloted her fighter through a formation of human battleships. The massive vessels moved together like a school of fish, their adaptive hulls communicating through quantum entanglement. When one ship detected a threat, the entire formation knew about it instantly. "This is incredible," she broadcast to her squadron. "The ships are actually talking to each other." "More than talking," replied her wing commander, Major Taehyun Park. "They're sharing consciousness. Each ship is part of a larger organism." The human fleet had evolved beyond simple mechanical construction. The ships were grown rather than built, their systems based on modified organic compounds that could adapt, learn, and evolve. They were living machines, as comfortable in the depths of space as fish in the ocean. On the Galactic Council's emergency communication channel, panic spread through the alien civilizations. The Velkari reported human ships appearing in their border systems. The Zephyrian Collective screamed about mysterious vessels that ignored their weapons. The Cronan Empire demanded military assistance against an unknown organic threat. Admiral Jamin Ko's voice cut through the chaos when he addressed the galaxy. His transmission reached every inhabited world, every space station, every military command center. When he spoke, his words carried the weight of 3 centuries of preparation. "People of the galaxy, this is Admiral Jamin Ko of the United Earth Navy. For 300 years you have treated human space as your personal graveyard. You have stripped our worlds, claimed our resources, and built your empires on our bones. You called us extinct. You called us ruins." The transmission paused, and across the galaxy, billions of alien beings held their breath. "Today you learn what humanity builds from ruins. We are not conquerors. We're not invaders. We are simply coming home. Every human world, every human colony, every system that once flew our flag, now returns to human control. You have 48 hours to evacuate all military forces from our territory." The message ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. In the command center of the UES Defiance, Admiral Jamin Ko watched the tactical display as his fleet moved into position. 15,000 warships formed a perfect sphere around the Sol system, each one a testament to human ingenuity and determination. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Soyoung Park, "the Terralian fleet is requesting permission to withdraw." "Granted," the Admiral replied. "Escort them to the system boundary. Make sure they understand they're not welcome back." The human armada had risen. From the depths of space, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never seen such chaos. Representatives from 47 different species filled the massive hall, their voices creating a symphony of panic and confusion. The Terralian delegate's purple skin had turned almost black with fear, while the Velkari ambassador's tentacles writhed nervously around his speaking platform. "Order, order," shouted Council Chairman Zekthal, his forearms waving frantically. "We must address this crisis systematically." Admiral Hicksonell of the Terralian fleet stood at the central podium, his uniform torn and his dignity shattered. "Honorable delegates, I witnessed the impossible. Human ships that bend space itself. Weapons that ignore our shields. Technology that makes our finest vessels look like children's toys." "Possible," scoffed Ambassador Krellanox of the Zephyrian Collective. "Humans were primitive. Their technology was centuries behind ours." "Then explain this." Hicksonell activated a holographic display showing the evacuation of Mars. Human warships surrounded the planet like a protective shell, their hulls shifting colors as they absorbed energy from the local star. Terralian mining. Vessels fled the system in panic, their crews abandoning decades of work in mere hours. In the depths of space, the human armada maintained its position at the edge of Council territory. The fleet stretched across several light-years, each ship connected to the others through quantum entanglement. Captain Sujin Park stood on the bridge of the EU's Harmony, watching alien probe ships approach their perimeter. "They're trying to scan us again," reported her science officer, Lieutenant Minho Kim. "Let them look," Sujin replied. "They won't understand what they're seeing. Anyway." The alien probes detected impossible readings. The human ships seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their energy signatures suggested they were drawing power directly from the fabric of space-time itself. Most disturbing of all, the vessels appeared to be alive, responding to threats with the instinctive reactions of living creatures. Back on Earth, in the underwater city of New Seoul, Dr. Hyun-woo Kim monitored the galactic communications networks. The alien civilizations were in complete panic, their military leaders demanding immediate action against the human threat. Some called for all-out war, others for desperate negotiations. "They're scared," he reported to Dr. So-young Park. 3. Centuries of believing they were the dominant species, and now they realize they're not even close. "Fear makes people do stupid things," So-young replied. "We need to be careful." The human fleet had demonstrated restraint that puzzled the alien powers. They could have struck without warning, could have destroyed entire civilizations before anyone knew they existed. Instead, they had given evacuation warnings, offered medical assistance, and targeted only military installations. This mercy was perhaps more terrifying than any show of force. Ambassador Dae-Yoon Lee prepared for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. The young woman had been chosen to represent humanity before the Galactic Council, a responsibility that would shape the future of both species. She wore a simple blue uniform, her dark hair pulled back in a practical style. "Remember," Admiral Jaemin Ko told her, as she prepared to board the diplomatic vessel, "we're not asking for permission. We're offering coexistence." The UES Diplomat was unlike any ship the galaxy had ever seen. It appeared to be made of living crystal, its hull transparent and gleaming with inner light. As it approached the Council station, alien security forces scrambled to respond. But their weapons couldn't even target the vessel properly. Dae-Yoon walked into the Grand Chamber alone, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. Every alien. I was fixed on her, studying this representative of a species they had believed extinct. She looked so ordinary, so human, and yet she carried the authority of the most powerful military force in the galaxy. "Honored delegates," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems, "I am Ambassador Dae-Yoon Lee of the United Earth Government. I come before you not as a conqueror, but as a neighbor." The Terralian delegate stood up, his voice shaking. "Your ships have expelled us from 17 systems. You've destroyed our mining operations." "We have reclaimed 17 human systems," Dae-Yoon corrected gently. "Systems that belonged to us long before your people ever reached the stars. We gave you time to evacuate. We offered medical assistance. We targeted only military installations. Would you have shown such restraint? The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew the answer to that question. What do you want? Asked Chairman Zekthal. Coexistence, Dayun replied simply. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us. We have no interest in conquering your worlds or enslaving your people. We simply want what was always ours. And if we refuse, demanded the Velkari ambassador, Dagyun's expression didn't change. But her words carried the weight of 15,000 warships. Then you will learn why the human species survived when so many others have fallen. We are not the weak civilization. You remember, we are what 3 centuries of hardship and determination have forged? Outside the station, the human fleet waited in perfect formation. They had demonstrated their power, shown their mercy, and offered their terms. The galaxy now faced a choice that would determine the future of interstellar civilization. The age of alien dominance was over. The age of human resurgence had begun, and somewhere in the depths of space, more human ships continued to emerge from hidden bases, a reminder that this was only the beginning.